Welcome to Daily Buzz News. A fierce clash has erupted inside the South African Police Service between Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya and National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola, as General Mkhwanazi exposes the origins of the country's deadliest hitmen. This bitter internal battle raises serious concerns for law enforcement and South Africa's fight against crime.
Shadrack Sibiya and Fanny Masemola in nasty fight as General Mkhwanazi reveals where South Africa's most deadly hitmen are coming from. As the battle against crime is netting serious across South Africa, a controversial high-ranking police official finds himself entangled in a web of accusations that could reshape the nation's law enforcement landscape. Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, the Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection, is currently facing serious trouble from his superior, National Police Commissioner General Fanny Masemola. This situation has unfolded rapidly in recent weeks, highlighting deep divisions within the South African Police Service. At the same time, KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has come forward with startling revelations about how hitmen are being recruited across the country, pointing to specific areas where young men are drawn into criminal networks at an early age. These developments are not just isolated incidents, they connect to broader issues of interference in police operations and the challenges of addressing crime at its roots. Sibiya's troubles began last month when Masemola instructed him to stay home while an investigation proceeds. This order came shortly after Mkhwanazi made public claims about problems within the criminal justice system, including the disbandment of a special task team focused on political killings. According to the details that have emerged, Sibiya is accused of giving orders to remove 121 case dockets from the task team in KwaZulu-Natal and transfer them to a central office under his control. These dockets, which involve investigations into serious matters, have reportedly been sitting idle, causing delays in the probes.
On the 26th of March 2025, this year, a total of 121 case dockets that were under investigation were taken away from the task team as directed by a Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, a Lieutenant General Sibiya, who was acting on the instruction of the Minister of Police to disband the team. This was done without the authority of the National Commissioner, nor I as a Provincial Commissioner was never informed. These case dockets have since March been sitting at the head office ever since, without any investigation work done on them. 5 of these dockets had already instruction to arrest perpetrators, but nothing has been done because a Lieutenant General Sibiya, being instructed by the Minister, executing instruction of the Minister, withdrew all these dockets and they are sitting in archive in his office in Pretoria. God knows why.
The letter from Masemola, dated August 19, 2025, notifies Sibiya that suspension or a temporary transfer is being considered under the police discipline regulations. It states that his actions have allegedly hindered investigations and were carried out without proper authorization from the National Commissioner. The accusations against Sibiya go further, suggesting that he intended to harm the interests of the police service and failed to follow lawful instructions. Additionally, he is facing charges related to obstructing justice and behaving in ways that damage the reputation of the service, including elements of dishonesty. These charges allow for a faster disciplinary process, and Sibiya has been given until August 25, 2025, to submit written representations explaining his side. This timeline is tight, especially since a court hearing on his urgent application to return to work is scheduled for August 26, 2025.
I don't want to cry foul here. If the National Commissioner feels that I'm the only one who deserves to stay at home, let's hear what the legal process will advise. But be that as it may, all I can say is that personally, I'm not worried. I'm only worried that the police are being put in this terrible situation, into disrepute, and the damage, all the hard work and been thrown in the dustbin. And I'm looking forward to clearing my name, and I'm asking South Africans to look at it as it comes. We will testify. South Africans will make their own judgment. but I do have paperwork.
In response, Sibiya, through his lawyer, has sent a demand letter to Masemola, arguing that the process so far has been unlawful and demanding immediate reinstatement. Sibiya has taken his fight to the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria, where he argues that the stay-at-home order amounts to a disguised suspension, which is not allowed under the regulations without giving him a chance to respond first. He maintains that only official suspension or transfer procedures are permitted, and even those require an opportunity for representations. In court papers, Sibiya points out that Masemola's initial position was that the order was simply to keep him away from the office during a preliminary investigation, to avoid any intimidation of witnesses who report to him. However, Sibiya counters that this distinction is meaningless and still violates the rules, as it effectively removes him from his duties without due process. The roots of this conflict trace back to events earlier in 2025. In March, the Political Killings Task Team, established in 2019 following recommendations from a commission investigating such incidents in KwaZulu-Natal, was disbanded. This team had been handling cases linked to organized crime, including connections to politicians and prosecutors. Mkhwanazi has claimed that the disbandment happened due to interference from higher levels, specifically instructions from the former police minister, Senzo Mchunu, who has since been placed on special leave.
The work of the organized crime in Gauteng, supported by the Political Killings Task Team, has indeed been compromised. The disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team was influenced by the sterling work they performed in Gauteng to uncover the criminal syndicate, which involved some members of the criminal justice system operating in Gauteng province, and not because of what I presented earlier, which was the work they did in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Their demise was as a result of them assisting Gauteng to uncover the criminal syndicate.
Sibiya insists he was merely following orders passed down from Masemola, who in turn received them from Mchunu. Yet Masemola denies this, stating that Sibiya acted on his own, ignoring direct instructions. In a recent affidavit filed on August 19, 2025, Sibiya describes how he believes Masemola has already judged him guilty without a fair hearing. He argues that the National Commissioner is biased, having based decisions on untested claims from a press conference rather than solid evidence. Sibiya also highlights inconsistencies in how similar situations are handled within the police service. For instance, another high-ranking officer, Dumisani Khumalo, the head of crime intelligence, was arrested in June 2025 on corruption charges but was not ordered to stay home beforehand. Reports indicate that Khumalo and his colleagues were involved in efforts to clean up the unit, and there were warnings about misinformation targeting them. Sibiya uses this to show he is being treated differently, suggesting he is being made a scapegoat amid the fallout from Mkhwanazi's allegations.
On the matter of General Sibiya, well, you have seen what you have seen on social media and what you are writing about, and so one doesn't want to comment, because what you see there is obviously, I'm sure his affidavit and my affidavit is not yet ventilated. It will be ventilated at court, so let's not create another platform to adjudicate on it here now on the street. Let it be adjudicated there at court, at the right place where it's supposed to happen. On the issue of the commission, yes, the commission is, you heard that it's going to start soon, and we'll wait the call. Probably we are called, then we will go. We won't be hesitant to go, so that's basically where we are.
Mkhwanazi's press conference on July 6, 2025, dressed in full Special Task Force gear, brought these issues into the open. He accused Mchunu of ordering the task team's disbandment and the removal of the 121 dockets, some of which contained leads for arrests. Mkhwanazi described how the files were locked away, leaving officers unable to proceed, which he sees as a clear obstruction. This has led to a parliamentary ad hoc committee being formed to probe these claims. The committee, chaired by Mulapile Kanyane, plans to start public hearings with Mkhwanazi as the first witness. They have finalized draft terms of reference, which will guide the inquiry, and expect to wrap up by October 31, 2025. The committee is appointing external legal counsel and ensuring protections for whistleblowers, requiring sworn statements from all witnesses. These events expose factions within the police leadership. On one side are figures like Sibiya and Mkunu, who deny any wrongdoing, and on the other are Masemola and Mkwanaz, pushing for accountability. The scandal has drawn in President Cyril Ramaphosa, named in Sibiya's legal action, and has prompted acting Police Minister Firoz Kachelia to step in temporarily. Police spokespeople have declined to comment, calling it an internal employer-employee matter, but the public nature of the accusations has made it impossible to keep under wraps. Beyond the internal drama, Mkwanaz has shed light on a disturbing pattern in crime recruitment that adds a layer of urgency to these developments. During a stakeholder meeting in Durban on a recent Tuesday evening in 2025, he identified the Umzinyathi district in KwaZulu-Natal as a major source of hitmen not just for the province but for the entire country. This rural area, often overlooked, is where many young men are drawn into criminal activities from a very young age. Mkwanazi explained that analyses over the years show a consistent trend. Recruits often come from polygamous families lacking a strong father figure, leaving these individuals struggling to find direction in life. He elaborated on how these young men, facing hardships, become easy targets for recruitment into networks that commit serious crimes. The police have noticed this through detailed crime pattern studies, realizing that efforts so far have focused on dealing with the results rather than digging into the root causes.
So rapes and sexual offences, some of them might not be reported, especially in the rural areas. We have honorable premier, a forgotten district in this province. I don't know for whatever reason that is forgotten. Umzinyathi district. It is the source of criminality in this province, in the country. Almost every hitman you get gets recruited from. These are youngsters where the polygamy, it's a culture, it's a common. Just go around and find any boy that comes from there, ask them, who's your father? Say, my father is so and so, I don't know my father. My father gave birth to myself and two siblings, and he had also another wife with another family, and he went to Johannesburg, he worked in the mine, he never came back. And we grow up, we have to fend to ourselves, we have to figure out how to navigate this life. And while on that, you also get who comes and when the father dies, and made the mama pregnant and forget about these children of his brother. So when these boys grow up, they grow up not knowing what to do, and they get recruited. They get recruited and they end up committing crime. So that's what we see most of the time when we analyze our crime. So what we see happening in our crime is because of somewhere where we're not fixing the problem. We are dealing with the outcomes. We're not analyzing the root causes of why people do what they do. We have to go back into that and deal with it.
Mkwanazi stressed the need to address why people turn to such paths, pointing to social and economic factors that make certain districts breeding grounds for criminal elements. The Umzinyathi district, with its rural setup, contributes significantly to crime problems nationwide, as recruits from there operate far beyond local borders. This revelation ties into the larger picture of crime in South Africa, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, where socio-economic Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli, speaking at the same engagement, acknowledged that unemployment and uneven living standards, remnants of past systems like apartheid, push people toward criminal behavior. He emphasized that complaining about history won't solve anything. Instead, action is needed to make the province safe. Ntuli highlighted eThekwini, the city of Durban, as a key economic asset, or precious gold, that must be protected from crime to attract investors and businesses. He called for strong leadership to guide society towards safety, urging collaborative efforts from business leaders, academics, community groups. The stakeholder session aimed to build partnerships and generate ideas for sustainable crime-fighting solutions. Mkwanazi expressed thanks for the community's support, noting how people have been sharing information that helps in arrests. This kind of cooperation is vital, he said, as it boosts morale among police officers. The gathering brought together diverse groups to tackle safety challenges, recognizing that crime is a societal issue requiring input from all sectors. Delving deeper into the task team controversy, the Political Killings Unit was formed based on findings from the 2016 Moerane Commission, which examined underlying causes of such incidents in KwaZulu-Natal. The Commission's recommendations led to the team's creation in 2019, with a focus on unresolved cases often tied to organized syndicates. Mkhwanazi has described the disbandment as a setback, especially since the dockets included evidence linking high-profile figures to crimes. He claims the move was orchestrated to protect certain interests, with files deliberately sidelined at a national level. Sibiya, in his court filings, maintains his innocence, stating that any instructions he gave were relayed from higher up. He argues that Masemola's handling of the matter shows bad faith, particularly with the timing of the suspension notice just before the court date. Sibiya's legal team has demanded the withdrawal of the notice and opposition to his application, threatening to expose what they see as attempts to frustrate the judicial process. In his latest papers, Sibiya accuses Masemola of becoming both a complainant and a decision-maker, which compromises fairness. He points out that if he disputes deviating from orders, Masemola would be implicated, making it improper for him to oversee the process. The parliamentary committee's work is expected to uncover more details, with a focus on transparency. Political parties, civil society, and police unions have supported the inquiry, demanding full accountability. These interconnected stories paint a picture of a police service under strain, where internal conflicts hinder the fight against crime. The terms of reference will cover access to information and protections, ensuring a thorough examination. As the committee prepares its program, Mkhwanazi's testimony will set the tone, potentially revealing more about the alleged interference.
Thanks for watching.